Louisiana's highest court will host a summit in Rapides Parish next month aimed at keeping kids in school and eliminating truancy issues in the Pelican State. I spoke with the state Supreme Court's Chief Justice on the summit and its importance for Louisiana's future.
In so many ways, truancy can create problems in society.
Truancy in Louisiana is at a level that is found to be undesirable, says Louisiana Supreme Court Chief Justice John Weimer. It's why he is leading the charge for the 2025 Solutions Summit, a statewide collaborative initiative with the goal of helping to combat escalating rates of Louisiana students being absent from the classroom. And according to Weimer, there's a better way to approach truancy than punishment here in Louisiana.
That's one option, is to become real hard-nosed about those that don't go to school and punish their parents. But I believe a more systemic approach is best. Not only should we insist that they go to school, but we should encourage them to go to school and teach them how important it is to be present, how important it is to get an education.
Educators, judges, social workers, and community members, with some judges specializing in juvenile courts, will speak to participants about why students need to be present in the classroom for their future success. In fact, during the 2017 and 18 school year, records from the Louisiana Department of Education show over 36,000 students were deemed truant, totaling over 47% of truants in classrooms statewide. And during the 2023 and 24 school year, that number shrunk to over 29,000, with over 42% of truants identified. For Weimer, his early life showcased that same idea, being present in the classroom for future success. It's an idea he learned as a young child when Weimer's father gained his high school diploma and his mother left school in 7th grade to care for her siblings.
But I quickly saw how disadvantaged they were in life, and was very fortunate and blessed that Nicholls State University was not very far from where I grew up.
Weimer eventually attended Nicholls State University, then became an educator at the university, all leading to his election in 2001 as an associate justice to then Chief Justice of the Louisiana Supreme Court in 2021.
And it gives you so many opportunities and so many options in life that you won't have without an education.
Eager to direct young eyes and guide their journey through education with this summit.